What's up, boys? This is Contango coming at you from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. And today I wanted to do a video. This is going to be, I guess, the second part of, I had done a video a while ago talking about this banner vinyl printed map I had made that I was going to give away. So I was going to do a draw for that for anyone that was able to do a playthrough of the game on TripleA and send me the map and any comments they had on like balance, any exploits and things like that. So it's been a while since I did that video, so today is finally the day that I'm going to do the draw. So we're looking at the map that we're going to give away right here. It's on banner vinyl, so it'll roll up nicely and I can ship it to whoever wins. So before we get to the draw, what I want to do is just go over a couple of the comments or results of the games that were played, just to talk about that a little bit. So I guess the first thing to say is I think all of the games that were played, other than one, ended up being Allied victories. So I'm not necessarily going to take that as meaning the game is unbalanced, because most people were playing the game for the first time, and often on the first run through, it's kind of hard to figure out what the plan is as the Axis and execute it. It's kind of like G40. I think in the early days of G40, there was a lot of Allied wins, and it seemed unbalanced in favor of the Allies. And I think it's similar with this map, that people on the first several games even are going to find the Allies winning until the Axis kind of work out what their plan is. So I'm not necessarily going to take that as unbalanced, but something to watch for. So some of I guess the specific things that came up were, especially this C-zone, where the yellow block is C-zone 58, with the UK 14 with the naval base. So that's a common place, obviously, for the US to come down towards the Axis here. And so couple comments that was a bit strong, and I always did consider it strong, even myself. Just 'cause this is kind of the soft underbelly of the Axis. You've got four, they're not on the board right now, but there's four industrial complexes, one here, one here, one here, and one here. So the Allies can take those out and possibly get some money out of it, and also if they can hold it, they have a place to start pumping out units. Plus this city here, so a lot of things to defend for the Axis. So that's something that's on my radar. I'm not convinced yet that it's unbalanced, but it's definitely a problem for the Axis if the U.S. decides to basically bring everything they possibly can in this general direction. I do think, though, when that happens, there's a good opportunity for Japan on the other side, because they're going to be being left alone. So that was one comment. Something not necessarily that anybody commented on, but what I noticed in the games is a lot of people were kind of stacking up the UK fleet right here and possibly building on it. And so I'm considering if that is a bit too strong with the starting units that are over here, and there's a battleship that's down here that can join and everything. So something else to think about. And the other thing, I guess, that came up, I'm trying to remember, I think there was maybe only one or two games that ended up with the Axis going after France early in the game, and definitely the one game that I remember. Well, obviously the Allies won, but it was just the going after France first. Obviously, is going to be a problem, because you're just adding that many extra units to fight against, right? So leaving them out of the game means that's one more ally you don't have to deal with. So. So I do think there's ways to go after France first, and I did do a video about that, or did I? Maybe I didn't yet, but I want to do a video about that. But I do think it's doable, but definitely I would say the most difficult thing for the Axis to do is to go after France early. So other than that, I wouldn't say there were too many specific comments. So like I said, a few things remain to be seen. The Allies are winning more, and if some of these things are a bit too strong, but I'm not 100% convinced of that yet, but it is on my radar. And I guess the simplest way to work on that would be to change the units. Another possibility would be maybe to get rid of this naval base for the UK. At least that would force them to have to invest more in the US coming down through there. So that's kind of the results, at least everything that's coming to mind right now. So what we'll do now is we'll get into the draw. So I will come back and get that set up and explain how we're going to do that. All right, we're back. So it's time for the draw. So let me start by explaining how I'm going to do that. So first of all, we have 21 entries into the draw. You may remember back from my other video, I said there was multiple ways to enter. And depending on the way that you entered, you would get more entries. And then also you were able to do multiple entries. So if you wanted to play multiple games and submit them, that was fine too. So we have 21 different entries, obviously people with more than one. So the way this is going to work, we're going to use dice, obviously, because we're playing Axis and Allies. So it's a dice game. And we've got here 4 of Young Grasshopper's battle dice. These are the blue ones, which, if you're unfamiliar, hit on 3 sides and miss on 3 sides. So 50% chance of hitting. So this is just going to be basically a game of Survivor. You've got to hit to stay in the game. Well, each of your entries has to hit to stay in the game. So basically every entry will get 1 roll, and then if it hits, it'll continue into the next round. If it misses, then that's it for that entry. So we'll just roll. Whoever hits will continue, and we'll go round by round until there's nobody left. And we might run into a situation in the last round where there's 2 misses, in which case we'll have to do a repeat in that case. But otherwise, any misses will get scratched off the board, and then we'll go round by round until there's nobody left. So I hope that makes sense. So I guess without any further ado, I've got 4 dice there because that was the maximum number of entries, or the highest number of entries, I should say. So I'm just going to roll all of the entries for each person at once to save time, rather than do 21 different rolls. For instance, with Dylan, he's got 4 entries, so I'm just going to go ahead and do all 4 of his dice at once. So I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to explain, so let's go ahead and get started. So starting with Dylan with 4 entries, so 4 dice. Good luck to Dylan and to everybody else. So Dylan gets 3 hits, so I'm going to scratch 1 of these entries off, and the other 3 will continue. So next up is Bryant. Bryant with 3 hits also, so I'll scratch 1 of these off. So everybody else has 2 or less entries, so now we're on to Terry. Terry with no hits, unfortunately, so scratch his name off there twice. Sorry, Terry. David is next with 1 hit, so we'll scratch one of his names off of there. Then we've got Eric, 2 entries, and no hits, unfortunately. So both of those are going to get scratched off. Next we've got Matthew with 1 hit, so 1 of these will get scratched off. Bastian with 2 entries and 1 hit, so 1 of these will get scratched off. Next up is Freddie, 1 hit, scratch 1 of these off. And then Corporal Clegg had 1 entry, so 1 die. And I'm sorry, Corporal Clegg, but you're scratched off. All right, so I'm going to pause the video for a minute, clean this board up a little bit, and then we'll do the next round. Okay, so we're back. I've added a second column here with everybody that remains. So let's start at the top again. So Dylan with 3 dice remaining and 2 hits. So scratch 1 name off of there. Bryant with 3 dice and 2 misses. So scratch 2 off of there. Everybody else only has one die left. So David, and that is a miss. And Matthew, also a miss. Bastian, a miss. And Freddie, a hit. So Freddie's going to continue. All right, so I'll pause it again, and I'll do another column here for the ones that remain. Okay, so we've got the third round column. So starting with Dylan with 2 dice remaining and 1 hit. 1 scratched off. Then we've got Bryant with a miss. And it all comes down to Freddie here with a miss. So that means the only name left is Dylan. So congratulations, Dylan. The map is yours, so I will have to get in touch with you, get your contact information so that I can send it to you, roll it up in a tube and mail it. So thanks to everybody for participating, for giving the game a go, for all the feedback and comments that you sent me. Dylan and Bryant played at least 2 full games. I know they played a couple of other ones that finished, they ended in the first round, and just because there was some problems, like the Axis didn't set up very well, and the Allies kind of took things out really fast, so they kind of would reset up the board and start over. But Dylan gave me a lot of comments, was sending me emails with detailed lists of what had happened in the games, and a lot of suggestions. So thanks a lot to Dylan for that. A lot of information. So congrats, and I'll get in touch with you and send the map your way. So thanks to everybody else for participating, for all your feedback. If you do play more games on AAA, I'm happy to. I'd be glad if you'd send them to me. If you have any comments, I'd like to see the whole game file too. That gives me a lot of information. So if you do play on AAA, feel free to send it to me. Also, if you are interested in getting a copy of the map and you didn't win, you're not Dylan, then you can get in touch with me, and I can either send you the map file or get you in touch with my print shop, who can print one off and send it to you. So if you didn't win today, you can still get the map. I think it ended up being, I forget now, I think it was around $75 Canadian. So not super cheap, but also not, it might have been 65, maybe 75 with tax, but not super expensive on vinyl. It was a little bit more expensive when I did the one on PVC, which isn't in front of us right now, but I'll probably be breaking that out again soon once I ship this to Dylan. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you later.